What I'm doing here is fitting all these covers and so on, making little spaces for them to get them to fit properly. Yeah, just generally fiddling. I have to take this radiator off because I found when I studied the video that the brake, this leak here is coming from this mount. So that's good. I'd rather have it here than inside there, because if it's in there, that's it. It's tickets for the radiator. So yeah, I get that done. I've decided to do bike number 3, and the reason is simple. The crankshaft is still with the engineering firm being repaired, so I may as well get on with bike number 3. But that is not a bad thing, because I prefer to do the worst one now, or the one with the least amount of parts, so that I can work my way back to bike number 2, which is going to then be a little easier, I hope. So let's get on with that now and see what we come up with and what's missing. Right, let's start with this first. Can't have a horrible matte finish like that, so let me clean that up. When working on a Suzuki 125 case, one of the things that you need to take into account, one is you need to put in a bracket, a retaining bracket for the bearing on this side. As importantly, the kickstart spring and assembly goes on the inside of the gearbox. Weights are the big thing, because this 125, the 82 125Z, is one of the lightest of that year by some margin. So these are some of the reasons, design reasons, why they would have done things like that. So let me get on with that and start to assemble this engine. A bit of surface rust which we've cleaned off. Before I get carried away with the build, I just want to check that this carburetor for bike number 3, which I had to make up of different parts, is not going to flood, or if there's enough fuel in the bowl. So let me go ahead and check that now. Okay, that hasn't flooded, which could mean one of two things. It's level, it's good, or there's not enough fuel. So there you go. It's definitely a good amount of fuel. So that's working. So let me put that back together. Stumbled across another problem, which I've been reading up on. For some reason, these studs do not align with the holes in the head. You can see they're just slightly off on the inside, consistently smaller. Why that is, I do not know. Luckily, I'm able to check between the different heads, and they are all the same. This is an E1. This one is an E2. What I've done is try the E2 on this, and it's exactly the same. These studs are too close in. This is an RM125 1982. It is exactly the same as the other ones. So it's a mystery. I don't know why. People talk about misaligning the holes. It could be the case. So the only thing left to do is to take a little bit off on the inside of each hole and then just tap it on. I'll have to do the same with the head gasket. You can see more clearly here the issue. So really quite unusual. But anyway, that won't affect any part of this, so it's just another hassle to have to deal with. They fit. Right, I can get on and build the head. $30, but I don't do it in one go. Alright, just on 30. And once you've done a power soak on this and you've run it for a little bit, you're going to tweak it again to try and get up to 30, because what happens is the movement with the heat and the compression, slowly the gasket gives way a little bit and it loosens, so you want to tighten it up again. As it turns out, it looks like I'm just doing both engines at the moment, just building them up. I'm waiting for some big end bearings to come. For some unknown reason, I've lost them. This is for bike 2. Just had to do one threaded bolt on that, so that's helicoiled. Something you want to look out for when you're doing any media blasting, especially if you're building the engine after a while and you've done this media blasting a while back, you forget that these holes are full of grit. To sort this out, the best way is to just clean them through with some sort of little agitator and then just run the threader through just to clean it out. Otherwise, what happens is you put too much pressure on the screw head. And when that's the case, you can strip the bolts even before you've started putting the engine together. And more importantly, you don't get the torque down on the two casings when you're compressing the gasket in between. So very important to keep those threads clean. Right, mystery box. What could this be? Anyone want to hazard a guess? So that goes on there. Yep, it's really nice to have that. Let's see how it looks with the shrouds on when I get to the plastics. I'm cleaning out, this is engine number 2. I found a snapped off stud. So, yep, the work is not over yet. What I'm doing here is I'm working on the worst of them first so that I can get an idea of how this particular plastic works compared to, say, the polypropylene parts. Different sanders work and some are efficient and some are not efficient depending on the type of polymer that you work with. Now it's impossible to tell until it's too late. So let's see how this goes. This seems to be quite granular. And this sandpaper, I think, is a 180 grit, which seems to be doing the job here. So I'll just keep going with that for now until I have better information. But it looks like somebody's painted over this. Yeah, they've painted this. Oh, we have to get all the paint off this. So I've got a bit of thinners. Let's see if I can't get the bulk of this, or I'd rather get it off with thinners than actually scraping the plastic. You start 180, 240, 320, 400, 800, 1000, lamb's wool, heat gun. So now that is up to 600, and I'm going to put a heat cycle over this. You can see it's now quite smooth. This is after 600 grit. Now I'm going to put the buffer wheel on this and just flatten off anything and get as much of a shine out of it. I might do another heat cycle, but I think that's the end of the sandpaper. There you go. Very nice. You can tell the brake pads are worn. So even at full extension, I'm not getting any brakes. I was lucky enough to find a manufacturer of these threaded screws. You'd think it would be easy to find an M6 Phillips head, but it is not. So today, this workshop is going to be converted into my workshop. So it's going to be a 7 by 4 meter, which is really nice. I'm looking forward to working in this space.
We got for this. Have a good day, Philip. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Cheers.
Bye.
So where am I now? Well, I managed to suspend this beam, a beam that goes through up to a huge roof beam. So it basically suspends from the other side, which saves me having to put a load of timber in here just to hold up this ceiling. So here's this one. That's in position now. This one is lined up with that hole, so I'm just going to knock this through. Okay, let's put this in. Look who's bored and he's come to help me because he's tired of doing bicycles. I think that's the right way. So So we come out of here and then straight out to the yard. So this is where I've got to today. Just a few little bits to fill in here. I've got a door in for the compressor which sits behind there, and then close this off because this is a cold trap for the stairs down below. I've got access there. Yeah, it's really getting somewhere. I know to you it probably looks like an absolute mess, but I think you'll be impressed when you see all the lights in, and it'll make a really nice workshop, I think. So on that note, I'll see you guys hopefully next week with some more updates on the workshop. We're going to try and blitz through this because there's time is short. We've got lots of things at work to do. I've got a little bit of free time because we're out of season at the moment, and then I'm off giving courses and so on. So this I've got to get finished as soon as possible. Get the electrician in to put all the lights in, and then I'll get all my tools and things that you see in the other workshop, place them nicely in here, and then that should be it. So I'll see you next week. So it's no wonder we had to do a replacement on the part. So yeah, I'm pleased we've got all the bits we need.